Alright, everybody, let's see this. The biggest myths about modern war. Let's go.
You don't know war. I don't know war either. But having been through my fair share of wars, there's some stuff that you should know. And the first one I want to mention with FPVs in my mind are that they don't work on their own. A lot of people have the idea that standard RF FPVs not only engage the targets, but they do the reconnaissance as well. But in reality, they're just the final shooter. It's the ISR drones, the Mavic drones that find, track, and then guide the other assets to go and engage it. So FPV drones are usually only just another way to target something that you already know exists. Just like mortar or artillery or grad rockets. The next is that technology wins wars. That's just not the case. When you look at FPV drones, they're $500 and they've proven.
Of course, technology wins wars. Technology, if it's used correctly, it wins all wars. So I don't know what this guy is talking about. Technology is not winning wars. The drones, that technology, cheap technology, it's cheap because they're cheap to assemble, because the parts are cheap, because the technology are so much forward that these parts are cheap. So I don't know what this guy is talking about. Of course, technology is very important.
Able to take out the latest and greatest multi-million-dollar tanks. So no matter if it's a flashlight versus night vision or an umbrella versus thermal cameras.
This is just stupid. Of course, a drone. Bro, it's just stupid. A drone is technology too. But yeah, umbrella isn't, but yeah.
There's always a way to overcome the technological advancements of your adversary. In Iraq, we used tunnels. In Ukraine, we used crowdsourcing to get exactly what we needed. Adaptation and improvisation are the biggest winners of war. The next misconception is that people think that when you see the enemy, you can kill them. And of course, there's many different weapon systems that can engage these targets, but there's a lot that comes into play, like the distance. If you're working with a 60mm mortar that has a range of, a kilometer and a half, but the enemy is 2 kilometers away, you can't engage them. There's also the terrain. If you're working with FPVs in a mountainous environment, if you're trying to hit a target that's in a valley with a kamikaze drone, well, you're not going to be able to do that. The terrain will block the signal. And the latest example, at least in Ukraine, is weather. Strong fog, a lot of rain, big winds. They make bracketing artillery onto target way more difficult. And the drones aren't usually waterproof, nor can they get through 70km/h winds. As well as response time. One of the hardest parts of being an ISR drone is that you'll find the enemy, but they're only out for a minute or two. So the mortarmen have to be already dialed onto target, get it all ready, launch around in the air, and then wait another 30 seconds until it impacts where they're supposed to. Which by that time, at least for infantry,
Then you don't have enough mortars. What the fuck, bruv? You shell bomb the shit out of everything. You bomb it for a couple of hours or something. Bruv, you don't just fucking send one mortar and escape. Expect everything to be done. God damn.
they can be inside a bunker already. The next misconception is that air power alone can win. But once again, they're just an asset. They're just a piece of the picture. Infantry is what controls the ground. And once again, it's being proven in Ukraine. No matter the staggering statistics that are coming out of the infantry on both sides, casualties, they are still needed. Ground drones will run out of battery.
Honestly, infantry is used it's used too fucking dumb and incorrect in Ukraine and Russia. The fucking guys who are making the battle plans are fucking idiots over there, honestly. Losing so many men, bruv, any general who lost so many men should be fucking removed from his position right away. Right away. Even thrown to jail for being a fucking moron.
UAVs can't talk to the civilians. You have to have people on the ground, no matter how dangerous. The next one is that big explosions equals effectiveness. Most of the battlefield impact comes from small, repeatable attrition, not giant glide bombs. Yes, glide bombs are used. They're actually very effective. But from all my friends on positions that are regularly getting targeted by glide bombs, they are prone to GPS jamming. And just like artillery, like any soldier in Ukraine has dealt with thousands of times before, most of the time it doesn't affect you at all. It's just a little scary. And that's why we're seeing such a big use of drones. These fiber optic drones, they have a small payload. They look mean, but their warhead is just a little bit bigger than a grenade, maybe a 60mm mortar. But the reason they're so effective is that they can get to the target and they will reach it. No matter how small the payload is, at least they have an effect. And I've said this one a lot, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but a lot of people think that front lines are clear and they're stable. It's here and here. But that's just not the case. The gray zone spans 5 to 10 kilometers in most sections of the Ukrainian front line. And the reason being is that the drones are able to go that range very consistently. So anything within the area is able to be hit. And especially when it's closer, it's tough to get those EW assets that close to the front line. So it just expands, and that's why. And the next one that you're going to be surprised to hear me say is that modern war is all drones. And yes, they are a big player right now. They're the next big thing. But if you were to take take away all the tanks and all the artillery, all the infantry, the front line would not hold. They would probably be in Lviv by the end of the month. No matter the casualty rates that these systems produce, infantry has a
Honestly, modern warfare, it's all about the drones, all about it's drone warfare now. It's obsolete, all this with people and sending troops in and taking some fucking field. That shit is obsolete, bruv.
role in modern warfare, a big role, no matter if they're super effective at killing the enemy or not. Holding the ground has never been more important. When you look at artillery, yeah, it's not super effective all the time, but it's about suppression, keeping their heads down, keeping their movement on the down low, which precise drones can't
Artillery is fucking more important than drones.
always do. You can only fly a couple of them at a time. The next is that whoever has the most drones wins. And that's just not the case coming from an engineering background. It's about sustainment, training the operators, how good they are at flying. It's about changing the frequencies every couple weeks on all the drones and the battery supply and the maintenance to get through different weather conditions. These decide the drones' effectiveness. It's not just more drones equals success in the battlefield, which is why a lot of countries are decoupling from the China supply line right now because they know, they can cut out the battery, they can cut out different parts of these FPVs. And if they do, it's not about how many drones that they won't be able to create. It's about being able to sustain the tradable parts of these drones. It's about not having the controllers in order to train the pilots. The next I see online a lot where people are wondering, why is the infantry out in the open? Why are they patrolling like this? And you're like, no wonder they're getting killed. Why not just stay put? But here's the deal. War is not just about survival. You have missions and they are inherently risky. Thus,
Yeah, of course you have missions, and of course there's risk involved with war. But going out in a fucking open field is just suicide. It's just retardation. It doesn't make sense, bruv. The way they're fighting in Ukraine and Russia or whatever, the way they're fighting, it's fucking retarded, man. You don't fucking walk into a fucking open field. That's just dumb. It has nothing to do with war. Then you're just a fucking fucking juice head running around with a fucking gun. Nothing else. You're a fucking idiot then. If you fucking take orders, taking a fucking field where it's all open, you get no fucking cover from nowhere, you get no smoke, no nothing, bruv, forget it, bruv. I would say to that fucking commander, General Suck might go out yourself, man. Show me how to do it. Bruv, honestly, people are just dumb, bruv.
the bravery. You have to go out and do your job in risky conditions. That's why the Russians are taking so many more casualties than the Ukrainians right now, because they're on the assault. And there's only one way to assault to gain ground, and that is to get.
Bruv, all this Ukraine has less losses, or Russia has less losses. It's just dumb fucking speaking points. It's just dumb speaking points. Fuck all that, man. People are losing their life for what? For fucking a field? Fucking stupid idiots.
Out of your hole and move forward, even in the face of almost certain death. The next I take at it personally, which is that logistics is boring support work. And yeah, certainly it's not as interesting as infantry work, but I found that every job that I've had in whatever war zone, whether it's instructing, whether it's training or making drones or combat work, I have always found pleasure in helping out the war effort. And that goes for any soldier. Working in an ID lab, writing up bombs they're going to be using kamikazes. That's not only an integral part of the Ukrainian drone forces, but it's also really interesting. Not every bomb works in the same scenario. You have to be creative. You have to improvise. You have to design and make mines, anti-personnel mines. You have to make thermite drones, plus your munitions. There's a lot of interesting things when it comes to logistics. The next is that special forces can fix everything. But the reality is that they can't substitute mess. You know, I worked in an SSO team at the beginning of the war, and we were certainly helpful. We did our jobs well, but we wouldn't be able to do the jobs had we not had infantry getting bombarded every day a kilometer ahead of us. We were QRF. We cleared routes. We planted mines. But the people holding the line, the regular infantrymen, are the war. They are the reason special forces exist, to go and support them. That's why everything exists, to go and support these infantrymen, to support these regular grunts. That's just the reality. It's been like that since time began. And for all the NATO weapons that were given to Ukraine, especially in the first years of the war, a lot of people thought that morale is secondary to equipment. You know, as long as the Ukrainians have the best weaponry, oh, they're gonna be fine. You know, everything's gonna be good. That's just not the case. We've seen time and time again throughout the last 4 years of this war, with the influx of NATO weapons or without the influx, one thing that has kept the front line from collapsing has been morale. Morale is what determines whether units adapt, hold ground, or collapse when they're under the immense pressure of the Russian military. And that was the same in Iraq. Living in those conditions was not easy. But the whole reason our land is still free is because we exist. It's because we want it to exist. The next I hear is that war is about killing enemy soldiers. And yes, that is a part of it. That's the end result. But it's not just about that, especially nowadays. It's about destroying systems, command, their supply. Yes, those are run by humans, but the impact lies in what they carry in the back of their truck. It's not about the soldiers, it's about the potential. And the last one I'll leave you guys with is that battlefield innovation comes from
This is just stupid, bruv. Honestly, this guy, he's a fucking idiot, bruv. I don't know where he fucking got his script from, but the guy who wrote his fucking script is a fucking moron, bruv. Honestly. For real, bruv. Bruv. People don't have morale in the Ukraine war because Russia-Ukraine war because, bruv, what are they fighting for? What are they fighting for? Neither the Ukrainians want to be there, nor the Russians. The elites want them to be there, but the people, they don't want to be there, bruv. They couldn't give a. They don't give zero fucks about all this, bruv. Honestly. Everybody there is thinking to have a nice girl, nice car, nice fucking houses, all of this money, bruv. This shit is just retardation. And all of these guys who are getting sent in to take a fucking field that is in the open, they're bigger retards for even taking those orders.
The command that these big workshops that are in the rear and they're testing out this new equipment.
Honestly, war is not about taking a field. It's not about holding an area. A war is decisive and taking out the command. It's that simple. America in the Second World War could have prolonged the war in Europe for decades if it wanted to. But no, it was decisive. It knew to take out the command centers and the army would fall automatically. Without anybody giving them commands, nothing's gonna happen. So, as soon as they take Berlin, everything falls. It's that easy. So yeah, this is not how you make war. In the Ukraine and Russian war, it's not how you make war. That's just foolish. This is just, I don't know, man. It's just a show. It's something to keep the normies occupied.
Getting ready to send out to the big drone teams. That isn't what pushes innovation. They're only going to mass produce the drones that have been proven to be effective, and that starts at the unit level. When I was designing the bomber drone for my team, the whole reason I was designing it was because kamikaze drones just didn't make sense for us. We had to use bomber drones. We need to be able to resupply soldiers. We need to be able to drop fire bombs and also stay cost efficient. And that proved super effective. And that wasn't something that was used a lot. Analog 10-inch bombers. The ones being mass produced by the government were the larger Vampire drones, which are definitely very effective, but they have a different mission set. And for that reason, I believe that innovation starts at the unit level. It's from demand that they see when they go out to the front line every week. That's where you start seeing people using fiber optics or umbrellas or even FPVs when they were first introduced in late 2022, early 2023. These weren't made by Raytheon or Anduril. They were made in somebody's garage because the unit needed them. Yeah, that's all I have to say today. It's good for me to remind myself of these as well, but yeah.
And that's another thing. The command is totally out of touch with what is going on the ground. And that shows that this is not a war. It's not a real war. Because if the command is so out of touch for what the troops really need, bruv, those guys in the command centers are only sitting and drinking coffee and just sending people out in a meat grinder. Nothing else. It's that easy. If you're not ready to improve in the fucking first day, as soon as you find out something you need to do different, just forget about it. Then it's just a joke. It's just a show, So yeah, all of this, bruv, honestly, I wouldn't take these comments. If anybody came with, I've seen a lot of videos from the war and some of the comments they get to take some areas. And the way they take them is it's unprofessional. It's just dumb. It's foolish. Of course, there's risk, but it's all about minimizing the risk and doing things coordinated with all the other troops so you can get maximum effect of the operation. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I wouldn't keep a general around who would lose that many troops. General command, everything. Everything should be changed after so many losses, honestly. That's just what I think, man.
These are just a couple of the misconceptions I see in war, and hope you guys learned something. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Yeah, bro, I learned that you're a fucking puppet, nothing else. So yeah, that's basically it. See you guys next time.